America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him.
We're losing our democracy!
More inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch.
Wake up!
Before we get into that, let's get into this. I wanted to talk a bit about holding our politicians accountable. So you remember like a couple months back, I put out that video that that idea that I had about basically a social credit score, but essentially rather than for society, only use it for your politicians, basically people that we grant power to, basically people that we vote for, or people that are granted power within our local communities to basically use force upon the community in order to maintain social order. Right. So, we know that we're not going to have a society without fucking police, without fucking, governments, without any of that. That's all fucking, naive fairy tale shit, fucking anarchist society. It's not real. Sorry to burst you guys' bubble. It's right. We're never going to go back to fucking primitive fucking, so this is the family farm. I trade with the neighbor and everybody, we're not going to go back to that. That's not real, And so basically, we need a way to hold these people accountable, because as we've basically been pointing out, and as we see right now, holding these people accountable is like pulling teeth, literally. Like fucking, it's literally like fucking. Oh, who's gonna fucking be appointed to go ahead and prosecute the boss? Like that. It's difficult. So basically, the way that we need to do it is the people need to be able to hold the politicians accountable. And so that's why I say an idea like a social credit score. Like if you guys have ever seen Black Mirror, the whole social credit score, like, oh, when you pass somebody in society, like, oh, when you rate that person, that was a cool person, basically the same type of thing would apply whenever your local congressman or fucking a local police officer shoots a fucking kid riding a bike that looked like he might have had a fucking gun because he was holding a candy bar. Whenever that type of shit happens, you can vote. It basically, whether you approve of these person's actions or whether you disapprove of these person's actions, and basically it's almost like a real time, approval, disapproval score. But I mean, of course, it would go from politicians all the way down to, police officers, school teachers, even, all that type shit. Basically anybody that has, that collects fucking government funds and is basically granted power over society in any way, should be, able to be held accountable. And so basically the whole idea would be that those scores or those approval ratings actually have impacts on how much power they're granted. So basically if you vote for a congressperson and then they just start acting like a complete piece of shit and start acting within their own self-interest or whatever, you can limit that person's vote that they have. You could cut their vote in half. Like, yeah, you won the election, so basically you still get a vote, but your people get half of your vote. Your constituency gets half of your vote or whatever. And if they don't approve of what you're voting yes on, they could vote no on it, and in which case it basically kind of nullifies your vote. So essentially, yeah, it would be kind of a bit more of a direct democracy type thing, which is, again, not exactly a good thing, because it does imply a lot of mob rule, mob mentality, shit like that. It's gonna have basically it'd be almost like fucking a ratio system in Twitter. Like fucking people are gonna be dogpiling and shit like that. Social influencers are gonna be basically the people that actually control what how society is run and shit like that. That's the really it could devolve into something like that, to where basically the social influencers, the unelected social influencers who people just think are cool or whatever, or who big tech happens to promote more than other people or whatever. Those are the people that are basically gonna have all the influence in society and shit.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good. It's pretty elaborate, man. And at the same time, like you said, that you could see it devolve pretty easily, as far as ratioing and whatnot, right? And I think that a lot of Congress would have zero fucking power. Not that that's a bad thing, okay? But a lot of shit, there's a good possibility there's a lot that wouldn't get done. Just for the simple fact that Congress usually carries a pretty low approval rating. They just keep getting reelected. You know what I mean? Right. The average Congress, approval rating is something like 30% or some 28 to 30%, I believe. So I mean, fuck, every congressman would have a half vote. But I definitely like the idea of your constituency getting the other half a vote and being able to almost void, fucking, the reckless congressman's vote out. That's pretty good, man.
Right.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a cool idea. Of course, yeah, that's why I like to discuss it so that way I could kind of point out all the negative parts of it. When it comes to things like police officers and shit like that, of course that's gonna need to be on a different sort of algorithm. Because of course they're gonna fucking be voted down constantly. But at the same time, they should be rewarded for some of the good shit that they do. That's really kind of the problem is with news and the way the way that our society is. We feed off a tragedy. We don't ever see when it doesn't get reported on the news when a fucking police officer fucking saves a child from a fucking car wreck or something like that. That never gets reported. That's not interesting to fucking put on the news. But what is interesting is whenever they do bad shit or whenever fucking shit goes wrong. So basically, that would kind of put the police officers' ranking system also on a sort of merit-based system. Basically, you got to go out there and do good deeds, so that way people, see that this is a good fucking guy. This guy fucking he's solid. He's not out here fucking trying to abuse his power. He's not out here fucking trying to just illegally search people or do this bad shit. He's out here actually doing his job. He's serving the public the way that he should be. Those type of people should be commended. And really those type of people are kind of kicked back, because, like, oh, why are you being such a goody two shoes? Like, gonna snitch on us? The whole fucking blue line, the blue shield fucking people, like that's a bad thing. That's not good. Like all these people with the fucking blue line stickers on their car, I get it, like you support, rule of law and shit like that, but doesn't mean you have to support the police themselves, I mean, like I said, if you just look up any video of a police officer getting pulled over, it's usually fucking like, oh, sorry, I don't want to have to write this, but with all the cameras, I can't do anything. Like, my hands are tied now. That's basically just shows that, before these body cams and all this shit, police were never held accountable for anything because of that sort of brotherhood. And that's basically why I say, if you're not in that brotherhood, if you're not part of that, if you're not willing to look the other way for your fellow police officers, then you're never going to make it anywhere. You're going to be fucking writing tickets and you're going to be a meter maid for your entire life, when really you should be fucking chief of police, motherfucker, And that's why I say really it kind of needs to be on another algorithm type mode to where basically you're getting rewarded for your good deeds. And whenever shit goes down in the public and fucking people, see like, oh, this dude's fucking abusing his power, they could vote your ass down to meter maid, or if they see that, like, oh, this person's been found guilty of taking bribes and shit, they could vote your ass down to meter maid,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like you're saying, when they do good deeds, man, it's like, say, social media, for instance, it's posted on there, but then it's posted to sites like propaganda and shit post. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's almost, made fun of, or, finally they do one good thing, some shit like that. But with that thing, like you're saying about the algorithm, that one would be, I think, a little more difficult because you want to have the person that interacted with the police. That's the main person whose vote you want to get, right? To see how they sprayed the officer's interaction. But at the same time, you want the public around to be able to do it too. Like if you witness some shit, and say the person that they had action, they're going to downvote like the police was rough. Then if I witnessed it, I saw that the dude was resisting or what have you, it'd be, you'd vote too or whatever.
Well, that's the other thing too, is, man, fucking these cops nowadays, they walk around with more cameras on them than a motherfucking Tesla, Like they got cameras, they should at least have cameras watching every single fucking angle around them. And we should have access to those cameras like that at an instant, Basically we'd have people literally just fucking sitting online, pretty much riding around with the police officers because, I'm bored. I just feel like watching some cops do their work all day long. And then I'm just going to fucking rate them on how good of a job they do. Like people will do that shit. I'd fucking do that shit.
Yeah. I'm sure there'd be tons of clips of it all over the inner zones, man,
Oh yeah.
But, I think it should be a felony if they turn it off.
Oh yeah.
If you turn on fucking your cam or something, dude, felonies for you, Bobby.
Yep.
And they should also be on like a sensor because obviously, I mean, they're still regular people, dude. They need personal time too.
Right.
So like if they're in a vehicle or in a shitter, something like that, it's like a sensor of some type that shuts them off for them.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's basically if they step out of their cruiser, it turns on.
Yep.
Something like that.
Yep. Shit. That's for sure, man. But yeah, like I said, all this type of stuff could be, implemented all the way down and shit. It's we have to do it though. A lot of this fucking technology already exists. There's a lot of fucking smart people out there that are capable of designing these apps and these fucking algorithms and shit like that. We could do it, and it could start out just as a little fun little app that you could download on your phone. Hey, rate your congressman. Hey, rate your local police officers. And then next thing you know, fucking people start getting into it, and people start seeing like, oh shit, like, oh damn, fucking that cop's actually pulled over 10 motherfucking people and wrote bullshit ass tickets all fucking week. Like, yeah, that dude's a fucking asshole. People start getting into it over time, and then it'll start turning into something more real. And basically, with the I don't know, with the whole movement going on right now, it's basically you ain't getting elected if you're not down for fucking limiting government's power. Like, you're not gonna get elected if you're not willing to get elected and limit your own power. And that's really the way that it should be. That's the way that it needs to be right now, because government really needs to be cut down, a couple pegs, to be honest. They really need to come back to the realization that you work for us. It's not the other way around. We're citizens of the United States. We're not subjects of the United States. You are fucking servants of the public. And it really does need to be like hard hitting, hammered home. That point needs to be hammered home, like almost to the point where basically, yes, the people should have authoritarian rule over those in power, because they technically have legal authoritarian rule over us,
And it sucks though because you have to rely on those same people to pass these laws.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I know, like they're completely entrenched. I mean, as far as I'm aware, I could be wrong, but the only people in power I know of that have introduced bills to limit their own power is Rand Paul and Ted Cruz. You know what I mean? And both those bills were completely, disregarded or obliterated by votes. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it would be in a similar situation. I mean, you're relying on these same people to vote to limit their own fucking power, man. And that's, pretty rare. And basically, we have to, wait till the vast majority of everyone in power at this time, unfortunately, that probably includes the two that already introduced those bills, to die off, man.
Right.
I'm not even playing. You see, like Feinstein, she's 90 years old. She can't even function. It's like a puppet. They raise her hand and stuff. You know what I mean? And bro, she's still there, man. Still there casting votes, bro.
Yeah. But really, fucking Rand Paul's that type of mentality should be the only type of mentality that is allowed in politics. Like, basically, if it could really kind of breed an entire new sort of a mentality when it comes to our politicians and shit. Because basically, like I say, you're not going to get elected if you're really just doing it for selfish reasons. If you're doing it because you want power, if you're doing it because you want to have control, if you're basically the whole adage goes, the person who wants the power the most should be the last person to have it.
Completely agree. But, at the same time, dude, you have a large population that's going to be like, that's fascism's, dude. It's freedom, limited government, and fucking war. That's definitely racism.
Right. And that's why I say it really is going to basically be more of a way of a direct democracy. Basically the more people have when it comes to basically keeping their congressman or their representative on a tight leash and shit. It is going to be more representative of the people. Of the will of the people. At the same time, too, the people can also be held accountable for their votes. Because that shit is basically, it's on an app. That's data. That's in the cloud now. I could fucking we could look back and fucking see like, oh, okay, well, oh, you're over here fucking fleeing California and shit, while according to your fucking records, you voted Democrat for the last fucking 10 years in a row. So that's kind of your own fault, motherfucker. And basically, people need to be held accountable for their own stupid votes as well. All these fucking people that are peeling off their fucking Biden Harris stickers and shit. Like, no. Keep that bitch on. Keep that motherfucker on as a daily reminder of how fucking stupid your ass was. How stupid you fucking voted. Like, no, don't peel it off. Fucking matter of fact, you should get that tattooed on you, motherfucker. Like,
As far as that's concerned, though, like you're talking about like a democracy, dude. If you're in a democracy, you and I lose every fucking time, man.
right. Well,
Hillary would have been president, and you know, I mean, you just keep going with that, man.
but that's why I
You know,
say it'd still be a representative, democracy. It's not like we would be able to vote on fucking how AOC votes. We'd only be able to vote on what Siscomani has to say because he's our representative. We don't get to it's still representative and shit like that. It'd still be it's not like we'd get to vote on the police officers in California or fucking Las Vegas and shit. We'd only be able to vote on the police officers within our neighborhood.
but then at that point, you'd have to restructure like our whole government for the simple fact that the way it's based is representative, right? Republic style, dude, where obviously population dictates how many reps that state gets, and the coasts and the liberal areas populations far outweigh everywhere else. That's where the majority of the population is. And no matter how bad it gets, you see California, you see New York, $9 billion in immigrant costs right now, and they're still going to keep voting fucking Democrat, man. It's like the blacks.
Right.
The blacks, they voted Democrat for the past 50 some years. They're fucking, if anything, their quality of life has gone fucking down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know, man. Fucking like I say, it would be kind of cool to have a more power over your fucking representatives and shit. But
It would.
fucking like I say, it's still an idea in the making, but it'd be something a lot more, and really, we kind of do need to restructure government in the first place. We really kind of already need that.
I mean, it's only because of what we let it become. I mean, our original system is a system of checks and balances,
Yep.
and now it's to the point where that's just disregarded. I mean, even the Federal Reserve, it's supposed to be only the United States Treasury that deals with the money supply, man. And they completely wash their hands of it, other than can we borrow some more money at a high ass interest rate where it costs fucking, a nickel to make a penny. You know
Right.
what I mean? And that's the repercussions of that right there, man. You know what I mean?
Yep. Alrighty, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys stopping by and checking out this whole video. Make sure you guys share this video out. Help us try to grow this channel a little bit. And make sure you guys are here every Friday night at 10 p.m. Arizona time, where you could catch us live. You guys could talk with us in the chat. You guys could talk amongst each other in the chat. And basically, we'll just be reviewing the news that happened throughout the week. We'll be smoking some weed, having some philosophical discussions, and basically just bullshitting the whole time. Well, I appreciated you all. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Fuck off. Oh yeah, also check out these other videos.